Letter to ex-husband. Gary, my love, I'm writing this to you in the hope that you will read it. Thank you for saving me today. This is the second time you've done this. Of course, the first time it led to our divorce. I almost got into trouble again, didn't I? Maybe it was because I was thinking about you. Today would have been our anniversary. We would have been married for 10 years. It was nice to see you. Even if you barely spoke, you really only warned me about the pub. I went to the same pub where we met once. That day, you were sitting at the bar drinking your pint of cider. You were wearing that old ratty biker jacket, those old jeans and those old boots. Now I know you didn't have to wear those clothes, but you felt comfortable. Now I know you owned a storage company. You looked so serious even though you were chatting with your friends about football. You've always been serious, haven't you? I remember when you bought me a Manchester United t-shirt so I could sleep in it. You said I was the sexiest woman in the world when I put it on. With you, I felt like the sexiest woman, no matter what I was wearing. Having a tall, strong gentleman looking out for me was amazing. Sorry, Gary, I'm talking incoherently. I'm going back in time. Anyway, at least a few hours ago, I was sitting there drinking half a cider when two men started talking to me. I didn't encourage them. I hadn't really been with anyone for 2 years. I wasn't interested in being taken away. So I'm sitting there in jeans, a t-shirt, and Doc Marten boots. Standard when we went out together, right, Gary? Anyway, they kept me chatting and plying me with drinks. I knew what they were doing, so I sipped my cider and didn't really drink much, or so I thought. They were both big men compared to me, of course, and I was a little worried about what might happen if they insisted. I looked around and saw that I was the only woman in the bar. When one of the guys, Rob, touched my knee, and the other guy, James, touched my shoulder, I knew I had made a mistake coming here. That's when I heard heavy footsteps and hoped it wasn't another guy trying to grab a piece of me. But I felt it was you. At first, I didn't want to turn around. I smelled your aftershave, the one I bought you. I turned slightly and looked down. I saw that you were still wearing those old work boots with steel sock. I also smelled your leather jacket when you walked up to the bar. You didn't say anything at first. You put your hand on my shoulder and turned me to face you. You touched your lips to mine for a moment. I almost died from shock. You haven't changed a bit, maybe a little more careworn. And now you shave your head and have a little goatee. But you're still the handsome man I knew. The men must have known you, and they noticed the way I looked at you. They both apologized to me and you and walked to the back of the bar. Thanks for saving me. I was being stupid again, weren't I? You didn't say anything to me. You just took my hand and led me to your car. I tried to talk to you, but you didn't answer. I know you swore never to talk to me again, but damn, it really was dead silence. We got to our house, my house, and you walked around the car and opened the door for me. Finally, you told me, "Be careful next time. This pub isn't what it used to be. Take care of yourself." With these words, you left. I walked into the house, snuggled up to our cat, Misty, and cried. Gary, my love, I know we divorced 2 years ago, but honestly, you are hard to replace. I have not met a more caring and kind person in the 2 years that we were apart. I know it was my fault that we separated and eventually got divorced. It's good that we didn't have children. I heard from friends how divorce can affect children. I want to say that I'm sorry about what happened. You know I didn't have full sex with that bastard, but as you know, we did make out. That's how you found us, isn't it? And I crossed all the boundaries that we set for ourselves. Until now, I haven't had a chance to write or talk to you since you left me. I haven't had a chance to tell you that I'm so sorry and that this was the only time something like this happened. He plied me with booze most of the night, and I was on a business trip 300 miles away. I was sad and depressed because you were not with me. I rarely had to travel, but this was a big contract, and I had no choice. I know that while I was there, we played online. I used my vibrator. You used your right hand, but the fact that you weren't physically with me got to me. The bastard coworker of mine who was helping me with the contract was polite, said all the right things, and after a lot of drinking, I didn't feel in danger. When he suggested we move to a booth at the back of the bar, my brain didn't turn on. I just didn't want to be an eyesore to others. I was wearing the evening dress you bought for me, black, with a low neckline and slits on the sides. I know you like it, I know the motherfucker liked it too. It showed off my legs and yes, my breasts. But hey, a woman should be able to wear what she likes without interference. Yes, I know I shouldn't have worn that dress to the hotel bar. I probably received too much attention from different men and even a couple of women. Anyway, this bastard led me to a booth and pushed me into the corner. He wasted no time and started kissing my neck and moving his hand up my leg. I know that my eyes were closed, and in my mind it was your hands on my body and your lips on my neck. I felt myself starting to respond to his touch. His hand slowly moved up my thigh to the panties you bought me for my birthday. His lips kissed my breasts and went down to the valley between my breasts. To my utter shame, I reacted. My body reacted against the wishes of my brain. I felt horny. I felt hot and horny. And this man I assumed was pushing all the right buttons. He pulled down the straps of my dress and lifted my bra, freeing my breasts. He just started kissing my nipples when I heard a cough. I opened my eyes and saw you standing there with a very angry look on your face. Then it dawned on me that this bastard was not you. I was with another man. I cheated on you. Well, you know the rest. I pushed the bastard away from me and he hit his head on the table. I straightened my dress and tidied myself up. It was difficult, my brain wasn't working, and you had to help me. I remember how you picked me up, then helped me up the elevator, and then into my room. Then you gently laid me down on the bed. I don't remember anything after that. I woke up and you were no longer there. I don't know how you got to the hotel and how you left so quickly. I took off my dress and took a shower. I felt so dirty and disgusted with myself. I knew why you left. I knew I had caused you irreparable pain. I saw in the cold light of day how I destroyed our marriage. After taking a shower, I packed my suitcase. I couldn't stay in the hotel anymore. I needed to talk to you. Not to explain, I didn't see any point in it. I don't know how much you saw, but I'm guessing it was enough. Enough to destroy our marriage. It so happened that I was checking out, and so was this bastard. He looked terrible. He was walking with a limp, and his eyes looked swollen. And I could see that he was walking as if someone had kicked him hard in the balls. He saw me and tried to speak, but his mouth was too swollen, and he also seemed to be missing several teeth. I believe you explained to him in detail that he should not get involved with a married woman. I wish I had done the same. Anyway, you know the rest. I came home and saw the letter you wrote to me. I expected this. I know we have strict border rules, and I broke them. I could blame the booze, but honestly, I shouldn't have let that happen. I shouldn't have let that bastard get me drunk or touch me. I'm so sorry, Gary, but I know that you are no longer. You can trust me. I know that you will never talk to me again. I knew that you would be fair in the divorce, and I knew that even if you were angry with me, you would never hurt me. I read the letter you left for me, which said that you wanted to surprise me and drove all night to be with me. You saw that bastard with his hand under my dress and his mouth on my nipple. You also stated that you were confused because I said your name. Yes, I thought about you and imagined that it was you kissing and touching me. In any case, all this happened more than 2 years ago. I am currently working in an office as an assistant managing director. Don't worry, he's almost 65 and fat, but he's a good man, just like his wife. They both helped me out several times. I'm as happy as I can be without you. No, I never saw that bastard again. However, I still went to visit his wife. She wasn't surprised that he cheated on her. And remembering that evening, I explained to her what happened, and in the end, she kicked him out and divorced him. He lost his job, and honestly, I don't know or care where he is. So this brings us back to the present. Why were you in the same town as me? And why were you in the same pub as me? And more importantly, why did you save me from yet another stupidity? Please contact me, Gary. You were like a ghost to me. Everyone we know keeps saying you left town or even went overseas. But I have a feeling you're in town, and even though you shouldn't be, you're looking out for me. If this is true and you're around, you know that I haven't dated anyone since my divorce. It's not because I couldn't. It's because I didn't want to. I've always wanted only you, and I'll die knowing that I lost you. I know you said to move on, but I can't. I'll probably end up a lonely spinster with 10 cats. Anyway, Gary, my love, my silent ghost. Contact me, okay? I am sending this message to an email address. I hope you have not changed your email address and will read it. I'll wait as long as you need. Your loving ex-wife, Carrie. Reply to ex-wife, Carrie. Well, I admit, I'm surprised to hear you say that. I tried to stay away from you. I still feel something for you. Otherwise, why did I save you from those vultures? I'm a little confused about my feelings for you. I have forgiven you, and perhaps under different circumstances, I would like to be friends again. But when I close my eyes, I see you and that bastard, and thoughts of who else you could be with come to my mind. Yes, I know you said it was one time. Yes, I know you said you were drunk. All this may be true, but what I saw changed the way I feel about you. You know, I am a complex and serious person. I don't do anything without a reason. The day I drove 300 miles to surprise you and end up finding that bastard touching you was a shocking day for me. I admit that we communicated. It wasn't a very good conversation. I just beat the crap out of him and told him to never talk or date you again. I'm glad you found a new job, and I'm glad Fred and his wife are looking out for you. Yes, I know them, and yes, I recommended you to them. You see, sometimes I can be a good guy. As for saving you from these guys, in that pub, they clearly knew me, but they didn't know who you were. I haven't really talked about you in the last 2 years. There's really no need for that. They saw a beautiful woman sitting at a bar drinking. Just so you know, this pub has changed. It's not a place for a single woman. Some women I know have complained about being touched inappropriately by men in the pub. This is what some people call a meat market, so please don't go there again. As for keeping an eye on you, well, maybe I followed you, but only through mutual friends. I asked your friends to tell you that I'm not around. If they told you that I moved or left town, it was their choice, not mine. In fact, I live in a one-room apartment a few streets from your house. I'm surprised you haven't seen me running around the streets. Yes, I am running now. I work out at the local gym. Yes, I saw you going to work. A few times you even walked past me and looked at me. I thought that you might have recognized me. But on the other hand, I have changed my appearance somewhat. I'm glad you approve. So, just to be clear, I didn't stalk you, but I did help you at various times. If you think about it, you might remember something. Anyway, now you've got me rambling. Yes, I own a warehouse company. Yes, I could stop working, but I prefer to help in the warehouse. Okay, enough about me in the past. Honestly, I do feel something for you that I'm not entirely sure about, but I think it's time for us to talk face to face. I haven't had any romance in my life since we got divorced. I won't say that I didn't have anything with anyone. Your friends probably kept you informed about my personal life, so I was definitely not a monk. But I just never found the same connection with anyone as I did with you. I know it's sad, isn't it? Two lonely people in the world trying to move on. I know I told you to move on, and I tried to follow my own advice, but when I close my eyes at night, I think about you. So I'm not sure how we're going to do this. I remember the saying, never go back to your ex-wife or ex-girlfriend. So I'm taking a chance. I want to meet just to see if my feelings for you have changed, or if it's really time to move on and truly forget about you. I leave my phone number. When you are sure of your feelings for me, and if you are serious about some kind of relationship, then let me know. I don't promise or expect anything. We will be two people for the evening. At least that's my expectation. And just so you know, yes, I watch Manchester United, and I still have that shirt I bought you. I would love to see you in it again one day. Okay, enough of that. Contact me. Find a place for a date, a restaurant, or a diner to go to dance. It doesn't matter, just find a place that's comfortable. And let's see what happens, shall we? Wednesday, I was sitting at my desk sorting out some papers when my cell phone rang. I didn't recognize the number and wanted to ignore the call. I usually don't answer unknown calls. There are too many scammers calling. But then I realized it could be my ex-wife, so I answered. Hello, says Gary. Hi Gary, it's Carrie. Am I at the wrong time? It's okay, Carrie. Remember that I'm the boss. I can be free at any time, I said nonchalantly. I felt relief on the other end of the line. Gary, you mentioned in the letter about going on a date, she said carefully. I smiled mentally. Yes, I mentioned that, didn't I? And yes, I'm serious. It's time for us to talk. Do you have any place in mind? Actually, yes, Gary. A new restaurant recently opened. It serves gourmet food. Several of my friends were there and they liked it. And on Friday nights, they have a resident DJ. And there is a dance floor if customers want to dance. So I took the liberty of booking a table for 7:30 p.m. on Friday, if you don't mind. She hesitated for a moment before continuing. If you want, we can change the place or time. Carrie, it's okay. I know a restaurant that I was planning on going to one day, and 7:30 p.m. sounds good to me. I understand the dress code is casual, so if you don't mind, I'll wear jeans and a shirt. You know I hate suits. I felt her relief and joy. Thank you, Gary. It means so much to me. And yes, you can wear what you like, but I'll try to impress you, so don't be too surprised if I dress glamorously. Okay, if that's what you want, Carrie. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the evening. Just remember, no matter how things turn out, no matter what happens, I don't want any preconceived ideas and don't put too much into the evening. I don't want to hurt you. Gary, honestly, I'm just glad we're talking so I can be with you for a little while. Anyway, Gary, I need to get back to work. No matter what it takes, I love you very much, and I will do whatever it takes to get you back. The last words came out of her in a hurry, as if she was afraid that I would stop her from saying it. Well, Carrie, thank you for telling me how you felt. To tell the truth, I knew that you would not stop loving me. Whether I could love you again is another question. I'm looking forward to you trying to convince me. Bye. See you on Friday. We'll meet at the restaurant, okay? Gary, thank you again. This is more than I could have hoped for. I will wait, and now I have to go. Goodbye, my love. I could practically feel her happy smile, and yes, I smiled too. Goodbye, Carrie. See you on Friday. I turned off the call and leaned back in my chair. Was this a good idea? I thought to myself, if I really wanted to go back to Carrie, partly yes, but partly I'm not sure. I sorted out the papers, walked around the warehouse, and talked with my employees. When 5:30 p.m. struck, I left work and drove home. Today is Wednesday, so 2 days to get ready. I grabbed a snack and then headed to the gym. I went into the men's locker room, changed, and then went out to the training area of the gym. I turned to the punching bag hanging from the ceiling and punched and kicked the bag, sweating quite a bit as I did so. There were probably about 10 people in the gym. I wasn't really paying attention to them. I was focused on the punching bag, however. When I stopped hitting the punching bag, a woman I knew walked by. She had headphones on, and she was focused on herself. She was wearing a crop top and tight shorts. Her legs looked slender and toned, and her stomach was flat and tight, her breasts bouncing as she walked. She had her long blonde hair pulled back into a ponytail, and she walked with a smile on her face. It was a smile, both face and body, that I knew she really moved and looked great. Yes, it was Carrie. I didn't know she trained at this gym. Several men saw me looking at Carrie. One guy I knew, David, who I sparred with sometimes, laughed and said, "Gary, no chance she doesn't let anyone get close to her. Almost all the guys here asked her out. She simply tells everyone that she is married and is not interested in any relationship." My face must have been a picture. David and I watched as Carrie used the rowing machine. Then after 5 minutes, she stood up and went to the cross trainer. Watching her ass move was very interesting. David saw me staring at her again. "Gary, buddy, don't even think about it. She's not interested. You can look as much as you want, but of course she won't let you touch." I tried to hold back, to be honest. But when everyone was looking at me, I stood up and slowly walked towards Carrie, who did not see me. Instead of scaring her and causing an accident, I walked next to her and waited for her to notice me. It took her about 5 minutes to stop exercising. Then slowly, as if in slow motion, she turned her head, looked at my body, then her gaze moved upward. She recognized my t-shirt. After all, it was the one she bought for me, an old t-shirt with guns and roses, and then her eyes looked at my arms and shoulders, assessing my body mass and muscles, then met my eyes. At first, she was shocked, as if she couldn't believe her eyes. didn't believe it was me there. Then a huge smile appeared. She took off her headphones, jumped off the cross trainer, and jumped on me. I did think about backing out, but only for a moment. When she jumped, I caught her, she hugged me and started kissing me. I felt a surprised silence in the gym, the only sounds coming from Carrie as she kissed and hugged me. Gary, I can't believe you're here," she said between kisses. I carefully lowered it and pulled away. I turned around and, yes, everyone in the gym stopped and looked at us. Carrie realized what was happening and blushed deeply. I took her hand and we walked into the small kitchenette at the back of the gym. Once inside, I closed the door. Carrie immediately rushed at me again. She hugged me and laid her head on my chest. "Gary, my love, thank you for letting me do this. I've been dreaming about this for 2 years. Carrie, could you come out for some fresh air? Just for a minute, we need to talk about something. Mainly, why are you telling everyone that we're married? And why haven't you dated anyone in 2 years? Surely someone would catch your attention." "Gary, listen to me. I screwed up 2 years ago, and you punished me rightly. I didn't like you doing this to me, but I can understand why you did it. Anyway, I worked hard for 2 years and spent that time getting in shape." She turned around to show off her body. "Gary, this is all for you. No other man or woman has ever touched me. As you probably know, I told everyone I was married to try to discourage advances. It didn't always work, but your name carries some weight here, and when someone tried their luck, I mentioned that I was your wife, and they basically left me alone. For a moment, I thought that if all this was true and it was easy to find out, then maybe I could try to mend some kind of relationship with my ex-wife. Okay, Carrie, I admit that this evening was a pleasant surprise. You look fantastic, and yes, I understand why you are being picked on. I admire you for waiting for me, even if I didn't actually come back to you. So I suggest we continue our studies, and then we meet on Friday for our date." I stood up, hugged Carrie, and kissed her forehead. Holding hands, we both returned to the hall. The looks from the people in the gym were funny. David approached us. "Gary, you lucky son of a bitch, you're her husband, aren't you?" "Well, technically it was, but she's my ex-wife," I said, holding Carrie for hand. He smiled and said, "So she's not married to you. Can I invite Carrie out for a drink?" At the same time, both Carrie and I said, "No." "Okay, I understood." He patted me on the shoulder and left. The others returned to their equipment and everything returned to normal. Carrie and I trained together, and then I helped her lift some weights that she couldn't lift as well as I could, but it was still impressive. After another half hour, we finished, and holding hands, headed to the gym lockers. We turned to each other and spoke at the same time. I raised my hand and she paused. "Carrie, it was great training with you, and it was good to be with you, and it was good to know the truth about your time here. I will say again that you look fantastic. I can see that you have worked very hard. You're great. Gary, my goal was to look good, feel good, and maybe get your attention and maybe start a dialogue with you. What happened tonight was amazing to me. I love you, Gary, and always will. This body is yours and you can use it anytime you want. I will wait for you, my love." As she turned away and headed toward the women's locker room, she stopped, turned around, and lifted her crop top and sports bra, showing me her breasts. "Gary, it's yours, my love." She smiled and turned away. I went straight into the shower and turned on the cold water. Friday. It was a busy Friday at work, but I admit I got distracted. The image of Carrie in workout clothes and her gorgeous breasts and confession that she saved herself for me and only me really made my mind spin. Yes, I checked her story, and all my friends and Carrie's colleagues confirmed she only went out with her family and close friends. She always went home early. She didn't drink in the evenings, only Coca-Cola or some other soft drink. She does not dress particularly provocatively in the evenings, preferring to wear casual clothes. As for the gym, everyone I talked to said the same thing. She didn't encourage or talk to any man who approached her. So after I exhausted all my leads, I came to the conclusion that my ex-wife was waiting for me. Apparently, when I found her with another man, that was the only time. Knowing all this information and making a decision tonight, I expect the date to lead to other evenings together, at least as far as I am concerned. Finally, the time reached 5:30 p.m. I gathered my things, walked around the warehouse, wished my employees a good weekend, and then headed home. I took a beer out of the refrigerator, went upstairs, undressed, and chose my clothes. Although I am the owner of my own company, I am not a fan of suits. I wear jeans and t-shirts and only wear suits at weddings and funerals. I picked out a decent pair of jeans and a new shirt. I cleaned the boots so they at least looked normal. And then he headed to the shower. After that, I trimmed my beard and shaved my head. I looked at myself in the mirror and thought that I didn't look that bad for a middle-aged man. I thought about the last 2 years without Carrie and the different women who came and went during that time. I know it sounds bad, but they all knew that they had no chance of becoming my next wife. Some even advised me to move on and actually leave my ex-wife behind. 1 or 2 tried to make me forget Carrie by almost killing me with sex. But for me, it was just like that. Soon, a rumor spread that I had no feelings, and I accidentally heard that my nickname at work was Sushi, cold fish. Friends and colleagues stopped inviting me to clubs and pubs. And yes, women stopped asking me out on dates. So now, 2 years later, I'm going on a date with my ex-wife. Really? I finished my beer, went downstairs and left the house, locked the door behind me, got into a taxi and told the driver where to go. I got to the restaurant and walked up to the bar, ordered a beer and just sat at the bar looking around. Someone tapped me on the shoulder and cleared his throat. I turned around and almost dropped my beer. Carrie was standing in front of me. She was smiling from ear to ear. She stood there allowing me to look her up and down. She was wearing a black sparkly halter top and a matching black skirt. Not exactly a miniskirt, but quite short. Black high heels made her look taller than she really was. The clothes fit perfectly and emphasized her tight, perfectly proportioned body. It's good that the jeans weren't tight. "So, Gary, did I pass your test?" she asked in a seductive voice. My eyes told her everything. I stood up and slightly leaned over and kissed her on the lips. "Carrie, you are beautiful." She blushed and said, "Thank you, my love. You can't even imagine how long I've wanted to hear these words from you." Then she hugged me, and I let her press her whole body against me. The bartender said, "Get yourself a room, you two, and buddy, don't let her out of your sight. She's been fighting off everyone for an hour." I saw that he was smiling, but there were several men around us looking disappointed that she was hugging me. I let go of Carrie. She took my hand and we walked to the table she had reserved for us. There were already 2 bottles of beer on the table. When we sat down, Carrie took my hand with one hand, she raised her glass with the other hand, and we clinked glasses lightly. "Let's drink to a new beginning, my love," Carrie said with a hopeful expression on her face. "Yes, be healthy, Carrie, for the future," I said, looking into her eyes. "Gary, thanks. You must be nervous. So am I. I have no idea how tonight will go, and I just want us to have a good time. And, of course, I want to reconnect with you. Carrie, let's just order food, have a beer, and then see how it goes." "I think you're doing the right thing by convincing me to give us a chance. You looked great in the gym. You look great here now. Let's just see how it goes." We did just that and talked about everything Carrie had done in the last 2 years. She started by telling me about her current job and thanked me again for my help. She really regrets what happened that night with that bastard. She repeatedly said how stupid she was, and that if only she could turn back time, she would never have allowed him to seduce her. With tears in her eyes, she told me how she coped without me, working out at the gym to become fit. Then she said, "Gary, I want you to know that I haven't had sex with anyone for 2 years, since the divorce. I know it's hard to believe, but somewhere in my head I was saving myself for you." I looked at her and said, "Carrie, look at you. You are gorgeous. You are a red flag to every bull that looks at you. Every man in this restaurant is looking at you, wondering if they could have a chance with you. So, are you really trying to tell me that you haven't had any sexual contact in the last 2 years?" "Yes, Gary, I swear I haven't had sex with anyone." Then she blushed and said, "The only sex I ever had was with my vibrator. You remember the one we bought for me when we were apart?" I smiled. Yes, I remember. The one we've been looking for you for ages. We ordered food. In fact, we only ordered one portion and divided it between us. We fed each other bits of food. Yes, we looked like teenagers on a date. Well, maybe we were. We finished our meal, had another beer, and then headed to the dance floor. It was getting close to 9 p.m., so there weren't many people dancing, and the music was quiet enough for us to continue chatting. We both stopped drinking alcohol and switched to Diet Pepsi. Carrie learned her lesson, and I didn't drink that much either. 3 beers was my limit. Carrie sat on my lap and kissed me. My love, I am your mate tonight, and hopefully for the next 30 or 40 years. I kissed her back. Yes, Carrie, that sounds like a very good idea. Would you like to dance, my lady? I said a few exaggerations. Carrie accepted my hand. Of course, good sir, I will dance with you with pleasure. I led her to the edge of the dance floor and we hugged, kissed, and without any prompting, Carrie began to dance. She danced around me, rubbed herself against me. At one point, she jumped into my arms, kissed me, and pressed herself against me. Of course, others had done similar things, but Carrie outshone them all. We danced and kissed on the dance floor for a few more songs, and quite a few single men looked impressed. Carrie danced and looked at her with lust. I hugged her and led her to a door marked Beer Garden. We pushed the door open and saw a group of picnic benches. There was no one outside because the weather wasn't really the best. I picked her up and led her to one of the benches. We kissed passionately. Our tongues fought with each other. I pulled the straps down her shoulders and kissed her upper breasts. We were not cold at all. On the contrary, we were pleased with the internal heat. I pulled my ex-wife towards me, kissed her neck and stroked her chest. Carrie, I love you. You are the sexiest and most beautiful woman I know. You really convinced me that you are serious about us being a couple again. Anyway, thank you for tonight. I kissed her on the lips and took her hand. We opened the door to the restaurant, and every man standing next to the dance floor followed Carrie with his eyes. I took Carrie to a table, we paid for our food, left a generous tip, and then walked out of the restaurant hand in hand. I'll call a taxi now and we'll go to my house. But I must warn you that I only have a sofa bed. It is a king size, but it may not be what you're used to. Gary, you're good anywhere, even if we sleep on the floor. When we got home, Carrie was already asleep. With a little difficulty, I unlocked the door and led her upstairs, carefully laying her on the bed and undressing her. I found one of my shirts in the closet that she bought me a long time ago, put it on Carrie, and then covered her with a blanket. Then I undressed. I figured the shower could wait until tomorrow. As soon as I slid under the covers, Carrie reached out to me and curled up with her head on my chest. Her breathing was slow and even, and soon my eyes closed too. Just before my brain shut down, I asked myself if I was better off with or without her in my life. This was my last thought before I fell asleep peacefully. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one.